We're going to change out this toilet. Sometimes you need to change out the toilet because you want to remodel, and other times you change it out because you have to. This is the latter case. Usually I put on some gloves when I work on plumbing because I hate plumbing. First thing you do, in this case obviously the water we shut off already, but you turn off the water with the valve. You want to turn off the water all the way so it's off, so it doesn't leak. Second thing that we're going to do is disconnect that water supply line. Now sometimes you will want to use 2 wrenches. In this case, we don't need to. There's also this nut that you'll need to take off. Next thing that we'll need to do, if it's dripping slow, you might want to put a towel around there and grab the water like this. See? It's dripping slowly. So I'm going to put a towel just to catch some of this water and get it out of the way. Okay, so down here is the 2 bolts that hold the toilet onto the floor, onto the flange. We need to take those off. Pop off the caps. And remove the nuts that hold it down. There's usually a washer or 2 on top of that. Usually these are made out of brass, so they're pretty soft. I'll get the other side. So if you want to save your toilet seat, you might want to take that off before removing the original toilet. So usually there is a nut underneath there, as well as a place that you can put a screwdriver on top. So a lot of these times these will pop off, and then we'll use a screwdriver and a wrench. Okay, stop. I need to get a screwdriver. I'm going to hold the nut on the bottom side and back out this screw. It's plastic, so it shouldn't be too hard. Once you get it halfway free, it should pretty much come all the way. So save these if you're going to save this. Reuse the seat. Do the other side. Now here's your chance to clean under here, which never probably gets cleaned under in regular cleanings. Set them to the side. All right, and then now we're ready to take the toilet off of that flange, and there's going to be a wax ring in between. Sometimes people caulk underneath the toilet, so it might come up pretty hard. So we'll see on this toilet if it needs to be pried up or if it'll lift right off. But when you lift it off, you try to lift it off straight up. You don't want to break the flange, especially if it's a PVC flange. Always. Yeah, it came up nice. Okay. And we'll have to clean up the wax ring, obviously.
You want me to just clean that?
You want it? Or I can do it. Now, this wax ring embedded in it has a plastic flange that helps direct the stuff where it needs to go. So we're gonna have to kind of loosen all this up and clean it up. I'm just gonna take all this off here first. depending on how the flange sits with the ground, you might need more of a wax ring or less of a wax ring. So it just depends. All right, here it comes. Yummy. And just try to clean off all the remaining wax so that the new wax ring can sit flat as it possible. So just get all this off of there. Looks good. Now, they'll probably have new closet bolts with the toilet, but we'll just set them here at the side just in case. It'll be a good idea when you're putting in the new toilet to look at the instructions, although most toilets go in very similar fashion. So anyway, first thing is get there's new closet bolts. Okay, I'm gonna put the new closet bolts in. And you really want to keep these parallel with the back wall, because if they're not parallel like this, your toilet's gonna sit at an angle. So you really want to keep these two bolts as parallel to the back wall as possible. And usually, a lot of people, if you're not gonna put a toilet on right away, they stick a rag down in the pipe here so that no sewer gases come out. And also, if you're kind of klutzy, it might keep you from losing parts. They would be hard to retrieve after you dropped them down there. So it's a good idea to put a rag in there if you're prone to dropping things. Okay, now if they're lined up pretty good, you can measure it actually with a tape measure. I don't have a tape measure on me, but it looks pretty good and parallel with the back wall. Then we need to take care of the wax ring and put it on the bowl. So usually you need to flip the bowl upside down here. Carefully, especially if you're on real tiles. I'm not on real tile, but now here's the wax ring. This is a nice chocolatey looking one. Sometimes they have urethane inside that are a little tougher. This one might not. It might be all wax. Okay. Now there's let's clean this out of the way. We don't want anything impeding the waste product as it goes down the tube. So let's do this right. We don't want the ring going this way. We want it going this way because it's going to get flipped upside down. Just push this in here firmly. Okay. Just get it set in there real nice. Okay. Now this point, this is the harder part because you really got to lift the toilet and get it positioned right and flip it over. Okay, I can do it. You want to get it lined up right above those bolts. Just do it slowly, you'll be fine. And that little, you like to just kind of lightly sit on the toilet just to seat it down a little bit, so it doesn't rock around too much. You can always tighten those bolts later after you sat on it, but that's one of the few times you can sit on a toilet backwards. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to put on these little nuts that will hold down the toilet seat. Sometimes you have a plastic washer, a metal washer, and metal nut, but this time it's all plastic, which is kind of nice because there's not much of a chance of cracking the porcelain with plastic. Don't tighten it down too tight. We're going to do the other side and then try to even it out. Don't over tighten at this point. You don't want to break the porcelain. You can snap the caps over the top. So some tanks you'll have to put these new bolts in that hold the tank down to the bowl with a washer in here. These were already in there, so that's nice. Then you usually use this rubber gasket to seal between the tank. See, it fits this particular nut to seal between the tank and the bowl. So now let's set the tank on top of the bowl. Okay. Now I'm going to tighten those bolts down. So there's a plastic washer and then a nut. And they actually gave me a little nice wrench to assist in tightening this down. You can just use a regular monkey wrench, I'm sure, but you need to get down below to feel it. Here, pull this from top. And the nut from above here with a screwdriver here and from below. Okay, it's getting pretty tight. Check the other side. Snug it up real good. Okay. This water line's different. It has a built-in compression with a ring inside of it, so I don't need to have anything special in there. Actually, I just tighten this down here, which is kind of nice. Okay. And then up the top. Let's get it nice and tight, but not too tight. Okay. Okay, now these are on tight, but we're going to turn on the water slowly. Kind of watch for leaks first. Okay, so good so far. Let's check up top. Okay, looking good. Water's going in the bowl. Water's going in the bowl. Filling up the bowl as well as here. Check for leaks around your everywhere around the toilet. Let it fill up. So on first fill, you want to fill it up. You can adjust the height of how much water is in the tank. You want to make sure that it's not above your overflow tube, because then your water will just keep on running. So you can spin this and adjust how high it's filling up the tank, so because the float's attached to that. So then we'll give it a flush and see how well it works. Nice. And so at this point, I'm just going to put the tank lid on. That all looks good. And reattach the seat. And I'm sure you know how to do that. Thanks for watching.